Thank you, Mark. So
Yes, thank you.
Can you hear me, right? So let me invite Lyudmila Yeropkina. She's the HR director of War&Energy. Please welcome. Also, please welcome Sergei Smetanka. He is director of Department of Security, Economics and Defense of Ministry of Economy of Ukraine. Sergei. Sergei, Lyudmila, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Microphones?
Yes, actually, where are the microphones? Oops. Yes. Yes, we're going to bring the second for Sergei. Can we have the second microphone for Sergei, please? So the idea of our panel discussion, as we mentioned several times, we don't want that to be just boring and someone just presents something insane. So what we're going to do, we're going to ask Sergei and Lyudmila what's going on with the mobilization at the moment. We also, as we know, Sergei has been protecting businesses and has been representing businesses in Ukraine, because you understand, if 50% of employees will be recruited, the business will mostly die, and there's going to be no point of. So the point is to discuss that a very, very, very critical issue at the moment.
Yeah. So I think we'll start with Sergei. We'll start with the government point of view, of course, and then Lyudmila will talk about private sector impact. So Sergei, if you can start maybe 5-7 minutes, intro comments. Basically, where are we with mobilization? How is it going? What has been the impact on the labor market and the economy broadly so far? And how do you see it going the rest of the year? In 5 minutes, by the way.
Minister of Economy not responsible for mobilization, but we work with personnel of enterprises, institution, organization regarding to reservation of employers and the mechanism of reservation for bound to military service. And now, in accordance with implementation of law 3630T, we approved, Cabinet Minister of Ukraine approved new resolutions regarding to establish a new mechanism for reservation of personnel. But by this resolution, we established two mechanisms for reservations. First, it's by list through the decision of Minister of Economy. And the second, it's through the DSCT, electronic reservation. Also, we provide new new additional profit for business. First, this is extent of the validity period to 12 months, up to 12 months, or term of contract for military services, for military needs. Mm-hmm. And second, we allow reservation personnel without taking into account military accounting specialty. No deficit military account specialty. And now we also approved two mechanisms for establish critical importance enterprises, institution, organization for military, and for economic and livelihood of Ukraine.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
There is a list of enterprises. So we understand all the defense enterprises are critically important. So we're seeing that 100% of people are reserved, right?
Yes.
What about, like, okay, this is the military. The second importance right now is energy. What about the energy?
For energy, it's approved 100
100%.
all personnel, but a list of these enterprises, institutional organization, should be approved by Ministry of Energy.
And it doesn't matter if it's a government energy enterprise or if
Doesn't
it's
matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Just
matter.
okay.
Yes.
Is there any other enterprises or industries that can reserve up to 100% of people?
Other enterprises have limit 50%, but we have some for enterprises which provide works with remote emergency recovery teams of enterprises, provides of electronic communication services, and networks and their subcontractors.
Okay.
Yes, and also enterprises serving life support system and their subcontractors, the list of which is approved by Ministry of Infrastructure.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, I understand. Okay. Go ahead, Sergey.
Continue.
No.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So basically, is there? I mean, we've seen the recent decision by the government. There should be a minimum kind of salary for some enterprises, the people who make a certain amount of money, or I'm wrong. So above like 30,000 hryvnia that can be reserved, or can you comment on that? Economic reservation.
Economic reservation?
Yeah.
We had 20 models of economic reservation.
20 models.
It's a lot of model, but now we see some project of law, and choose best model need more discussion, more analysis.
And it hasn't been approved yet. So you have
Yes.
20 separate like models, right? And the government right now is discussing, because the businesses are waiting on that decision, because they have to understand who can be reserved, who cannot be reserved. And in this case, they can make some plans, because what we see, some organizations started hiring more women, because I mean, there are some jobs that can be some, particular job that can be performed by women. So this is what they're trying to substitute. The last time at our last event, we had HR director of Winner Group, and he said that we're actually looking at the newly graduated students who are come out of the college at 18, 19, and we understand at least we have this next 3-4 years, hoping that the war will be over by then. So at least what businesses want to make those plans. They want to make some plans in order to keep the business going. If, for example, 50% of employees get recruited, it's going to be hard to run the business. So, yeah.
Of course, it's very important, but now we have mechanism allow reserve 50%, but for more, it's very difficult because of our situation, very hard, and the army also needs
Army also
personnel.
needs people. Yeah.
We need looking for new ways for work with our reality. Yes.
And can I ask you, I mean, because there's a lot of pressure, we're hearing it from businesses. I mean, since the beginning of the year, but it's just getting more and more pressure the last few months. This level of pressure, how long do you think this would last for? If you can give businesses some direction.
Pressure, which area?
Well, in terms of mobilization and how many employees they need to start planning for, how many employees they might lose. Which, I mean, we're talking to companies now. In January, they were worried they're going to start losing employees. Then March, April, May, they started losing employees, and they're in the process of sort of losing employees to mobilization. What do you anticipate for the next 3-6 months?
For my own opinion, maybe some pressure will decrease after 2 months after law 36/33, when which man will renew
all the data.
Yes,
online.
yes.
Yeah, so this is right now we're going through the process. I believe it started about a month ago. So all the men required to update the information in the system. So now they said approximately 1.3 or 1.2 people updated the information. So now the government is looking who can be recruited to the army, because I mean we understand that if just for instance if for example million people update the information online, I mean it doesn't mean all the 5 million people will be recruited. So the Ministry of Defense has its own numbers as well, correct? So then when the Ministry of Defense see that they already have enough people, so that pressure might a little bit deteriorate. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, any questions? I mean, we don't.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. Greg Fishman, U.S.-Ukraine Business Council. We have information that even when an employee is ostensibly reserved by the Ministry of Economy, that is not really an important factor for the recruitment officers, and that they're being dragged into recruitment anyway. Are you experiencing friction with the Ministry of Defense for getting your reserve list enforced? And a second question, so somewhat related, a lot of employees are not able to get reserved because their documents are not in order. And in order to get their documents in order, they get recruited before they're able to get reserved. So those two sort of loopholes that we're hearing about make the work that you're doing at the Ministry of Economy highly sensitive. Can you address those two questions, please, if you understand what I just asked?
Yeah, so yeah, basically, maybe let's start from the second question, right? So basically, the people who are being recruited, their documents are not ready. So they're not in place, they're not even in the system. That's what the biggest issue right now, because I think there is another I'm sorry, I spoke to one person when the war started in 2022, I believe it was March and April, and he told me that, Andrew, we were approached by international organizations in order to sort things out in terms of how many men we have in the country, how many men outside of the country, who is eligible to be recruited, who is not. And they said, I'm sorry, we don't even have anything like that. That was the biggest issue. So now I think it's not the goal just to recruit all these people through the updating information, because Ukraine doesn't have the system where all the people are with updated documents. Because do you remember back in the day, there was a commercial. You're not the only one. It's 52 million of us, or 51, right? Do you remember that commercial was back in the day? When we counted how many people in the country, we realized there is not 52, there is a 43 million people left. So there is no clear track where the people are. So I think might be another reason. Maybe you can tell me, Sergey, maybe I'm wrong. So there is no updated system where all the, for example, 10 million men are with updated information. Is that correct?
Yes, but probably in these 2 months, maybe system will
Yeah, they're very effective. You know, okay. Greg, but that's the point. Look, they have their own information, but the database is not connected. So I'm walking down the street, I'm being approached. They don't have like iPad to connect it to the cloud. And it was like, okay, that's Petro Vasilkin, and all right, yeah, reserved. Thank you. Have a good day. So there is no such thing. Oh, the age is fine. Let's put him in a. But so basically, when this person gets to the recruitment center, so the
system will automatically
okay.
Include in the special registry.
Okay, so
all personnel.
It means if that person was grabbed from the street and he's at the recruitment center has the updated system with all the people reserved.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. anything else here?
Andrew had,
Yeah.
there's a question back there.
Yeah. Andrew, yeah.
She's bringing the microphone. 1 second. Microphone.
Sometimes I talk loud enough anyway. So Andrew Kinsel, Kinsel & Co. I've got a question. There's a lot of, considering the lack of manpower in Ukraine right now and the amount of destruction that's taken place in Ukraine, why does the 579 program, why does projects with EBRD financing or DFC financing still require job development? Why don't these projects, what does the Ukrainian government enact with these parties to take out the job development and in fact?
Because this is completely out of logic. At the time of war, we cannot get more people working in business because business cannot survive that. And the logic of getting grant and having this requirement fulfilled is out of that. So the question to the Ministry of Economy was specifically, because you are, well, now with Ukraine facility, with grant development program, and basically the communication needs to be done with Ministry of Finance too, who is responsible for 579 program, is we need to check what are the eligibility requirements for the support that is given from the state and from the IFI to businesses, and to eliminate this component where job number increase is a requirement. So that was the question. And it has two parts. A, we need to increase efficiency of our operation and of our labor. And B, we need to be smart about eligibility requirements that we impose in any financial mechanism that we develop. Now it's clear, right?
Yes.
Hopefully.
That's what I was trying to say. We need to remove that requirement because it doesn't make sense at the point when people are recruited all the time, and because of that, we cannot. The businesses cannot receive the grants or any loans or financial assistance, right?
Yeah. Sergey, you have a.
About grants, we have Ministry of Economy our order, and we have some own criteria for critical importance institution, enterprises, and organization. Cabinet of Ministers in 2022 approved 3 resolutions regarding to grants for industry, for agriculture, and other. And we have this criteria for which enterprises, industry, and organization get this grant.
Can eligible?
We can consider it's like critical important for economy. And we have our mechanism, our instrument for support these enterprises, institution, organization.
Okay. So, anyways, the business have to come to you, and you have to consider that if this is a critical important
yes.
industry, and this is where it can be reserved. But at the same time, I think Andrew is right. When we have already a specific laws, especially this 579 loans, when we have so many grants are coming into the country, but when the company actually eligible for this funding, but because of that one law, it stops the business to receive the funds, and this is actually survival mode. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, just real quickly, I've actually spent a lot of time working with a lot of the development finance programs. With 579, that is absolutely something that the government of Ukraine can control in terms of dropping that requirement. To get USAID to change that requirement means you're going back to the US Congress, because when Congress approves a lot of the budgets that go through for USAID, there are sets of requirements. There are KPIs that have to be hit for every single loan or grant that is put out there. Yeah, so within it, with many of them, that actually is it. That absolutely is. But that's not something that USAID can just change on the fly, and it's certainly not something that the government of Ukraine could change. In theory, they could put it in a request to, hey, when you're putting this in, can you please lower the numbers that are required? But it's not a fast change.
I love it. Thank you,
Have a
Deborah.
discussion. Yeah, because I represent UN, right? So, and I know how difficult things are done to change things. But basically, a lot of things were developed pre-war. And we live in completely different environment. We have complete different set of conditions and risks that we cannot put in the system or predict in the system when it was developed. So we have to adjust. So it doesn't matter that we want or do not, we must. Because in the setting that Ukraine is currently in, some of the things have to be adjusted because otherwise they will not work.
Okay.
Thank you, Sergey.
Yeah, thank you, Sergey,
Let's move to Ludmila.
Yeah, Ludmila, talking about then the implications of these government policies. You saw some of the survey results, right? From the HR point of view, I mean, how are you managing mobilization, broadly speaking? And then measures you're taking. You saw the survey results, attracting, retaining talent, raising salaries, all these different measurements. So please, a few minutes of your thoughts.
Thank you very much. Hope it will be like for 5 minutes or a little
you
bit
can.
more, but you will stop me in case I'm too long. So let me start with a short introduction about our company, who we are. We are War&Energy. We are a transmission system operator, which main task is to maintain electricity balance for the whole country. And we have 8,000 employees. So since 2022, our infrastructure, including cybersecurity system, is heavily targeted by our enemy. And in 2024, we already have 7 massive and combined attacks to our infrastructure. So our people working 24/7 tirelessly. And unfortunately, in War&Energy, we have our 7 people perished at their working places, and many have been injured. So before jumping to the discussion about how the mobilization impacted on the labor market and situation on the labor market, let me just give you a little bit broader perspective on what is going on the labor market, just to understand what mobilization added to those challenges. So since the full-fledged war started by Russia against Ukraine, 2.5 years ago, actually, we see the sharp workforce depletion of 40%, with 6.5 million of people displaced globally. According to EY Pulse Check survey for the first quarter of this year, we see that we lost at least 30% of human capital. Both EY and European Business Association gives approximate number of 70% of companies who say that they experience workforce deficit. And meanwhile, we see that since 2022, the share of Ukrainians who want to get back to Ukraine right now from abroad actually decreased by half. So as per latest research of Advanter Group in coordination with UNDP and DIA Business, 69% of the businesses say they have difficulties with time filling the vacancies. And apart from it, we have mental health problem with the remaining workforce here in Ukraine, with 77% reporting the anxiety and 46 complaining for fatigue, as per latest research of the Gradus company. So the last but not the least is mobilization. As per latest research of Advanter, 75% of the companies say that they cannot match the requirements for staff reservation. Now about War&Energy and how we deal with that. So right now, 256 my colleagues are serving in the Ukrainian armed forces, and an employee unfortunately lost their life defending our country. As part of critical infrastructure, we have the right to reserve 100% of employees liable for military service. But the situation is quite complex, as you already see during our discussion. So it involves, first of all, obtaining the critical infrastructure certificate for the company. Before the recent changes in the law, it was only for 6 months. Right now, we will have it for 12 months. This is the first. The second, our people need to go to the territory centers for recruitment and social support to actually receive their military documents or update their documents to be able to be reserved. And the third one, what we need to do as employer, we are gathering those documents and we are putting those in list of people to be reserved and sending them to two ministers. First ministry right now, again, we have a changes. This is Ministry of Defense. And the last ministry, which need to find the approval, is the Ministry of Economy. There is no protection period. We already discussed it between a few steps, between registration in territory centers for recruitment and between the actual approval of this document, which creates a lot of anxiety. Surely we are in constant touch with our employees. We are online daily and nightly. Additionally, we enhance functionality for our chatbot for employees to be aware about each step and how we progress on each step of the reservation process. But still, the problems are there. As we currently have 4,000 employees who are reserved, and it represents 83% out of the total people who are liable for military service. So how this complex situation actually influences on the candidate's behavior? I will share you our practical experience from the War&Energy point of view. I will not be touching such obvious things as that people searching for stability and certainty. It's obvious. So number one trend that male candidates are requesting reservation guarantee, and they're requesting it from employer. Legal obligations prevent us from promising 100% for sure that you will receive this reservation if you join us due to the above mentioned reasons already. So it also can restrain some candidates from joining us. As per latest research of Advanter Group, 40% of respondents say that candidates currently have high or ultra high salary expectations, which was already on your slides. And 31% of respondents seeing that candidates actually overestimating themselves. As a challenge is quite strong. But whatever, we have a reservation in place, or at least we can say that our company is eligible for 100% reservation with no guarantee. It's easy. It makes our process more easy to negotiate the salary expectation for the candidates, but we need to take this trend into account. We also see the growing female role, if I may say so, in the hiring process of the male candidates up to 35 years old. I'm specifically talking about wives and mothers of the candidates who are specifically concerned when we are talking about some blue-collar energy professions working in the high-risk zone. So they interfere in the process and actively influencing the decision of the candidate about whether to accept the offer or not. We also see the increasing demand for mental health problems. However, there is a high stigmatization of psychological services in Ukraine. Gradus research says that 40% of respondents say they need psychological support, but only 8% is actually asking for that. We also see another trend which can kind of correlate with high salary expectation, but there are one good thing to know and to take into account for employers, that candidates right now are very scrutinized corporate social responsibility activities and employee experience. It's very important for candidates to understand what company does to support the Ukraine, how the company contributes to the final victory of Ukraine, and how the company treats their employees. We see that whatever this loyalty is available, candidates are not ready to change their job, and this is a very good tool for retention as well. So we see that it is become very crucial how the employers walk their talking, and human-centered employers are in candidates' heart right now, and I believe it will be very challenging, and doubtfully that money will get this battle. So in this context, probably it's also worth mentioning what we do with demobilized employees, because it's another challenge for employers. We have 36 right now demobilized employees, and recently another 6 joined our company, among which is one woman. So we launched in War&Energy the program which is named Together. It's designed for quick adaptation to civilian life of our demobilized employees. It also provides extended medical insurance with a huge rehabilitation coverage. And right now we are about to choose the provider for psychological and legal counseling services. Apart from it, recently we extended this program for external audience and proposing veterans and their family members comprehensive profession in blue-collar role, in a basic blue-collar role from the scratch. We propose accommodation, free meal, logistics, well-being activities, and some psychological support as well.
So let's War&Energy is it's an energy transmission company. Okay, the situation is kind of, I would say, your company's situation is a little bit better than the others. So you've been in HR how many years?
I need to count, but I guess more than 15 years.
So I'm pretty sure you talk to other HRs, and what other head of HRs are saying. So you communicating, I believe you have friends. So what their situation right now? Because we understand energy is, you have the right to
Yes,
book 100
yes,
people,
still.
100% of people, but there is a companies that's truly struggling. Like, what's your colleagues are saying?
I would say sometimes they're in despair, but it will be probably too harsh. There are a lot of positive expectations about the upcoming changes in legislation, which were already announced, and about the possibility, at least for strategic enterprises, to book their employees through DIA. Automatically, because right now the process is not fully automated, and we see some discrepancies between the hard copies of the documents our employees have and sometimes the information in the system. Yeah, because it takes time actually to put all the information in place. Yeah, and sometimes it happens. We already heard today some examples of what is happening on Ukraine in Ukrainian market, and actually all the HR and other colleagues from other functions are seeing it. So they are trying at least to be in constant touch with their employees, to help them and to understand how they help them when they are mobilized, what the support the companies will be providing to already mobilized employees. Because surely we all understand if the army will have no people, there will be nobody to defend us.
Yeah.
So
this is, we're talking about the loyalty programs.
The situation is complex, yes, and it requires actually involvement of a lot of different target groups. Probably together we can find a better solution on how to make this process more smooth.
Any questions? Mark?
I was just going to ask you, Obviously, it's very difficult, a lot of pressure. Sergey mentioned that hopefully in 2 months, in the coming months, some of that pressure is relieved. What would you say, some level of optimism related to the business environment, related to the labor market for the rest of the year? We want to finish on a good word.
I would say that usually such challenges are the great opportunity times in terms of experimenting, because there is no books actually written about how to deal in such situation when actually war happening in your country. So Ukrainians right now are writing those books and rewriting those books. So we are launching some programs, we are testing them, we see the feedback, and we are changing and making some changing in those programs as we go. So it's a time for experiments, and something can work in one company, another company it will not suit. I mean, yesterday we have a panel discussion also, and one company say that hybrid work condition, this is the best what we can do for our employees, especially considering the fact that there is a really high demand from employees for hybrid work options. Another group of employers said, we understand it, we accept it, but it's not suitable for our business. Then we understand that our market also shrinks for 10% of these potential candidates. Yeah. So this is a matter of choice and balancing about priorities.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Any questions?
We have one here.
Just a question that I don't know who can answer that, but as a potential worker...
Can you introduce yourself, please?
As a potential worker for your company,
Okay.
is the list of companies with 100% and the companies with 50% security, is that public? Ukrenergo is a company with 100% free of mobilization reserve. There are companies with 50%.
Yes.
So if I'm an employee and I want to get a job in a 100% company, is the list of those companies public?
It's not the question for me, I guess.
I don't know who
It's a
can
question
answer
for
that question.
The point is, if you want to find a job in a company that can reserve 100% of employees, we have to just find the companies that are considered
Critical infrastructure.
the critical infrastructure. Just Google it. You should network with Lyudmila. I'll connect you so you have the right person to talk to.
Can either of you answer that question? Which are the companies, which are the sectors, which are
For
best
sure,
protected?
strategic enterprises are in the list of the companies who have this 100% of reservation right. Yes? Because it's very important whether the candidates or employee has the right documents in place, either their documents are up to date, then they are eligible for this reservation. Whenever the documents are not in place, whenever the employee or candidates has never visited the territory center for recruitment and social support, there will be, no matter whether the company and potential employer has 50% of eligibility or 100% of eligibility. This is one case. Another case that when we are talking about less percentage of eligibility for military liable people, it means that each company will decide what kind of roles are critical for that company to be reserved. And it means that for some positions, both companies will suit. For those with 50% reservation and for those with 100% reservation, depending on the nature of the job.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did Lyudmila answer your question? Yeah. Okay. So
And can you introduce yourself?
You're in a unique position to have a client. A lot of us, like me, don't have a guaranteed client. So we cannot employ unless we grow. Our competition are charities and government to critical infrastructure governmental organizations. How do we compete with that, and how do I employ a critical person to me, which is not the same level as a critical position to you as a critical infrastructure supplier? It's just a comment. Don't have to answer. We are in a different position here. Guaranteed
No, when-
client, competition, charities, and government. It's rough at our level, my level. Very rough. I can't employ it because I can't grow.
It's not a question.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we understand because if you're part of if
We'll
your
complain during networking.
yeah
together.
if your company part of the critical. Yes, I agree. And they always going to be a priority. We understand that. Okay, let's finish this first panel. Thank you so much,
very much.
Sergey. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Lyudmila. Please, we have another 30 minutes for food and network. And please, in 30 minutes, we will get back
Thank you very much, Sergey.
for the second panel discussion. And our panel is already in the room, so we'll see you in 30 minutes.